Mega Pod Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are now listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. It's Ro and Emile joining you today for our post-weekend usual audio-only episodes. Stan might be following later, so expecting them either on this episode or the picks of the week. Remember, we have to start with our weekend reactions. Emile, how was your weekend?
My weekend is fine. My weekend is great. A lot of wrestling, and a lot of things that we're gonna talk about actually. So it was kind of an eventful weekend of wrestling.
Yeah, but I'm gonna. A lot of things happened. I also got to try to catch up with a lot of things. So, maraming pag-uusapan. And I think the movements from the past couple of weeks also made some more wrestling must watch. So that's more work for us. But that's why we're here. We talk about the things you need to hear about, so that you don't have to watch everything. You got busy lives and busy day-to-day work, school, whatever have you. Pero syempre, we'll all come together for one of the biggest events in wrestling, in our wrestling fandom. Syempre, it's January. That means it is time for the Royal Rumble. This time next week, we will be having the 2024 Royal Rumble watch party. Syempre, it's at Skinny Mike's. January 28th, Sunday, 9 a.m. Myself, Rowan ASH, and Emile will be there at Skinny Mike's to facilitate the biggest event in the city, if you will. We've got a whole bunch of people filling up the bar. We're going to be watching the WWE Network stream of the Royal Rumble, and we're going to find out who is going on to WrestleMania on both the men and the women's side, and who's going to be finishing their story. As of now, if you're listening to this the week before the Rumble itself, meron pa tayong early bird tickets. It's still available until Friday, January 26th. Yes. So until 11:59 p.m. pwede pa kayong bumili. Tickets are available at tinyurl.com/rumble2024. tinyurl.com/rumble 2024. So it's still available, 350 pesos for early birds. And if you're not going to be confirming until the day itself, pwede pa mag-walk in, 500 pesos. But a first come first serve tayo sa seating. It's a table. There are no reservations really in Skinny Mike. So if you want a good spot, you will have to be there early. The doors will probably open at around 7 or 7:30 a.m. We'll be there early, but the show itself will start at 9 a.m. And if Skinny Mike's is too far for you, kung malayo ang BGC para sa inyo, we also have our friends over at Hobby Stadium. They'll be hosting their own Royal Rumble watch party. It is at Hobby Stadium, New Manila, Quezon City. E. Rodriguez Corner, Doña Emily Street in New Manila. It's only 300 pesos. You get a free iced tea over there as well. Syempre sa atin din may sa Skinny Mike's may free iced tea. So whether you buy 350 pesos early bird or 500 pesos walk in, you get a free iced tea. And let's all have fun. Let's all enjoy the show. Let's all kick off the WWE's road to WrestleMania in a big way with fellow wrestling fans. So whether you go to Skinny Mike's or Hobby Stadium, January 28th, Sunday morning is going to be a big one for all of us here in the Philippines.
So even though may free iced tea, even though may free iced tea, don't wag kayo mahiya na mag-order ng mga food for both of that places.
Yeah.
Both foods from both Skinny Mike's and Hobby Stadium are really good. So if you're hungry, and again Sunday morning, so probably breakfast yon. So if you're hungry and want to watch some wrestling, you can pwede naman kayo order ng mga foods.
We're gonna be there from 9 a.m. to possibly 12 or 1 p.m. because it's a big show. So you're gonna be there for breakfast and lunch. I think it's not gonna be worth it if you skip the food, whether you're at Hobby Stadium or Skinny Mike. So going in the end, let's patronize the bars that we are in because they are kind enough and they're generous enough to lend out their space for our big fandom event. Also, I forgot to mention as well, we will be raffling prizes, at least one prize for our Royal Rumble watch party sa Skinny Mike's. We are raffling off a Rocky Maivia Funko Pop, care of our friends from Everybody's Toys and Collectibles. Thank you so much, Dwayne, our friend, our partner, for sponsoring a Rocky Maivia figure. Kasi, The Rock made his presence felt a couple of weeks ago, so he is honoring that and honoring the possible Roman Reigns versus Rock matchup if it is ever going to happen by this price. Before we get to our weekend reactions, let's have one more thing. Emile, let's tell the people how they can support the podcast if they're not able to do that by going to our watch party via our Patreon program.
All right, so you can support the pod in any ways as possible. Of course, you can have the viewing party, but if you're not going to be there, you can also support the pod by subscribing to our Patreon program. It's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5 at 250, 260 pesos locally. Of course, there's some benefits. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you'll get to join in our Discord community where you can interact with us, interact with your fellow podcasts, and talk to us about everything and anything under the sun. And we also host some watch parties in there. So for future PLEs, pay-per-views, then we won't have an actual in physical or in venue viewing party. We'll have that on Discord. Also, you'll get some review content of the weekly wrestling shows courtesy of Rowan, and me. I'm now starting to write some reviews this week for the weekly wrestling shows, Raw, SmackDown, the AEW weekend shows, Dynamite, everything. And again, if you are part of our Patreon, you get some special rates on the pasabays that we do every single month. I think we're doing it monthly now. So
we don't have one yet, but if you guys want, for this month wala pa. But if you guys want, some of the new merch, especially from Judgment Day, from R-Truth, CM Punk Roots of Fight, open kami. Just let us know. Wala pa kasing nagtatanong, so di pa kami nag-umpisa.
Probably the next one is pag malapit na siguro yung Mania season, that will be the next one. But again, if you're part of our Patreon, you get some sweet rates on the service fees. And again, by subscribing to our Patreon, again, you're supporting everything that we do here in the pod. So again, it's at patreon.com/wrestling podcast for as low as $5.
Yes, sir. All right. We got the housekeeping out of the way. Thank you so much for going through it, listening to us shill our stuff. But we have some stuff to talk about, starting with with last Friday's episode of SmackDown, rather. First, the biggest thing, other than the fact that Roman Reigns signed the contract for the Fatal 4-Way, Pete Dunne. The name Pete Dunne is back. Butch is dead and gone. I believe it's 2022 to 2023, 2024. He's back. Tyler Bate is up. British Strong Style is back, and this completes yung transformation, or the full call up of the guy they signed from the UK scene. So, Emile, what do you think of all of this?
Again,
we predicted this. We
predicted this, and we pretty much called it. And again, the evolution of Butch going to Pete Dunne was a gradual process. It wasn't overnight. When Triple H took over, he brought the Bruiserweight back a little bit slowly. Hindi niya binigla. First, it was the attire. He brought back his Pete Dunne attire, and then the move set. And now it's complete. The name and the persona and the attitude itself. Ibang-iba talaga siya when he's like Pete Dunne, and not just with the name, but also with the actions. And as much as I love that he's Pete Dunne, I'm actually gonna miss the Butch character. Kasi the person who's playing the character really nailed the Butch character in the head, in my opinion. He made it distinct to what we have known of him before as Pete Dunne. So I actually got used to him being Butch already. So even though it wasn't the character that we want him to portray, I think Butch was a success then. But it's time for the real thing, the real Pete Dunne to come out and the bruiserweight to dominate the main rosters. I'm gonna miss Butch as a character, but I'm glad Pete Dunne is back.
Okay. Robin Say was asking me or over the weekend because we were hanging out. Bakit ano na ginawa now? It's because they were trying to hit three birds with one stone. Yes, people wanted Pete Dunne. The Butch name was a product of Vince McMahon's creative, but syempre, you can't just work your way back into it all of a sudden. Like, yes, you and I, we know Pete Dunne as Pete Dunne, but for most of the non NXT watching audience, who Pete Dunne is alien to them. They just know Butch, and they probably don't know why people are so mad that Pete Dunne was renamed Butch. So you do have to honor then what was started, and finesse your way back into it. So they hit three birds with one stone here. One, syempre, they got the name back. Two, they called up Tyler Bate from NXT, and then they reunited British Strong Style in faction nila, actually. And to complete that puzzle was the name. So I think they figured that they wanted to do this big plan. I think this was the plan for a while now, to get to the Pete Dunne renaming, or the debranding, if you will. So I think that's a good way to do it. I think it's one of those things that it should put faith in people who are doubtful of Triple H, diba? Some people are wondering, oh, is Cody ever going to finish a story? I mean, Pete Dunne finished his story with the name. So magtiwala tayo. Darating din tayo dyan. I think it's a matter of, it's not like Vince. You don't know if you're ever going to get what you want with Vince, diba? Kasi siya yung masusunod. Right. Anyway.
No, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I read this report from this weekend. When Butch debuted during the Vince's the late stages of Vince's tenure, there was something Vince doesn't want him to wrestle. He just wants him to beat people up, and I thought that's crazy because Pete Dunne is probably one of the best in-ring workers on the roster, and Vince doesn't see that, and Vince doesn't want him to wrestle. So I'm just glad that nakarating si Butch sa main roster, like just in time for the Triple H took over, and now we're enjoying Pete Dunne.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's why a lot of people don't support Vince. Right, moving on. I referenced it earlier. Roman Reigns, or rather, Nick Aldis was once again doing Nick Aldis things. This time on this week's episode of SmackDown, he almost vacated the championship. He almost stripped Roman Reigns' Uwu championship if he didn't sign the contract. So big deal. I think we've said a lot of words about how Nick Aldis is a pretty good SmackDown GM, or one of the best GMs we've had in recent memory. And syempre, is this, I think the question is here in our notes. Is this the closest that anyone has come to finally getting Roman Reigns in check? The answer is yes. Obviously, it is the closest. To me, I think that this is their way of finally trying to make up for all the times that Vince and Triple H himself have let Roman Reigns and the Bloodline run roughshod. So obviously the Bloodline is crumbling. It's crumbled since Sammy left, since Jay left, and a whole bunch of other things. And now that the Roman Empire is slowly collapsing, ito na yung hope that a lot of people have, or a lot of people wanted from the establishment. They finally have someone who is, facilitating the downfall of the Roman Reigns championship reign. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that's them being self-aware na rin. I think all of this coming together to somehow end the championship reign, whether it's by Cody Rhodes or by someone else. They're finally, giving the people what they want, and ending the historic run, because it has been pretty tiring on a lot of people's fandoms. What do you think, Emile?
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Good points there. And yun na nga, no, kasi the one problem I had with this Tyler Reign, with this story, is that hindi nagkakaroon ng consequences yung mga actions ni Roman. Like, he just overpowers everybody. And as a wrestling heel, one of the things that you're supposed to go through in a storyline is getting your comeuppance. And I haven't seen that with Roman, I think, in the last year or so. Like, walang comeuppance sa mga...
No, in the last 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's happening, and I'm glad that it's not too late for them to write something good for the downfall of the Blood. Everyone's playing their part really well in this story, and I think Nick Aldis is a vital key to that storyline, not just now, but come Mania season siguro.
Swerte lang niya kasi siya yung pinili para tapusin yung administration ni Roman Reigns, diba? It's like could have been Adam Pearce, really. Could have been Sonya Deville. But he was the guy they chose to kickstart it. Again, I keep saying this, but Adam Pearce got the short end of the stick with this, but at least you made a new star again, even though he's just a general manager. All right. Then we have other SmackDown stuff. I wanted to talk about really quickly. I wanted to rant about yung feud between the Latino World Order and Santos Escobar and his new Legado del Fantasma. I wanted to talk about this because not everyone is talking about it, but they've been running the same match for a couple of weeks now. So it's always a skirmish between the two factions. Nobody's explaining anything anymore. We've come from how Santos felt disappointed and let down by Ray, and then Ray got injured, and then Carlito's now the guy running LWO in his stead. Tapos wala, that's it. Nobody's explaining anything anymore. Nobody's cutting promos. Nobody's advancing the story in a real meaningful way. The only big explanation that I got lately was how Santos said that may history pala yung family niya with the Garza family, which Angel and Humberto are a part of. And he had to do that through guest commentary. Like, where are the promos? Where are the vignettes? Where are the video packages? Parang dinadaya silang lahat, not just Santos, diba? I don't know if you feel the same way, but I tend to notice these things because I want stories to be told. And if I were any of them, I would be kind of annoyed and frustrated at how I'm just being given the matches to wrestle instead of actually telling the story. I don't know. What do you think of this, Emile? Have you been noticing this as well?
I think they dropped the ball on the story big. And I think kasi Rey Mysterio was such a vital part of that story, and now he's out. It's like, now what? So I think maybe they're just waiting for him to come back to resume telling the story. Pero yun na feel ko, they're just waiting for him to come back. And up until then, they're gonna have these matches, great matches. The one they had on SmackDown was really good.
Yeah.
But anong use nun if they're not gonna advance the story with telling the story, telling the narrative. So.
Yeah, because I want the Garzas to explain why they did what they did. Parang gusto ko tahin nila yung point, yung story nila from NXT where they were crying over the team. And then they go to this, and then parang it's so unfair for the three of them and Carlito as well, because nobody's being made to tell their stories. It's just okay. We have a bunch of Latinos now. That's it for the representation. Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad that they kind of dropped the ball on this. This could have been something. I thought this was going to be a Mania program already, but when the time that they had that turn. Pero I don't know about it now. I don't know about it being a WrestleMania storyline after dropping the ball on this.
Yeah, kasi alam mo yun, parang okay, I'm just here, I'm just wrestling, and that's it. Like, what's the story now? Like, I want the story. Like, a lot of people want the story, and I hope that people are listening to this because it's not you brought Carlito back. That's the big pop. But then what else is happening? Yeah. All right. Last thing for SmackDown. Sige. I want to talk about this as well. Logan Paul and Kevin Owens had their confrontation. They built their story. They built their match for the Rumble. They're having a U.S. Championship match at the Royal Rumble. Logan Paul is defending the championship against Kevin Owens, the winner of the tournament. And in this promo, Logan Paul said that Kevin Owens is the reason why he went full time. Hindi naman full time, but he trained and joined WWE as a pro wrestler. So that's interesting to me, and I didn't realize that Logan Paul gets an origin story as a pro wrestler, diba? If you watch Street Fighter the movie, this is Chun-Li goes on a campaign against M. Bison because M. Bison killed her father. Diba? And this is the exact same thing. Kevin Owens is apparently the M. Bison to Logan Paul's Chun-Li. Kaya siya naging wrestler and kaya siya good at kay Kevin Owens. So this is pretty interesting. And I like it because Logan Paul is willing to go all in and do the pro wrestling things, about tell the pro wrestling stories. Say, I think normally when you do a celebrity thing, you're just building the match, you're just promoting the match, okay? You're saying, okay, we'll do this, and then I'll see you at the event, and then we'll fight. But eto, he's actually helping tell his own story. I don't think I've ever seen a celebrity do that. I could be wrong. Somebody could come here and could comment and correct me if I'm wrong. Pero this is the most I've seen, legit, the most I've seen a celebrity pro wrestler do. So you can come in and wrestle, that's fine. You can train to be a wrestler, that's fine. But to actively participate in the story, to do this very pro wrestling thing, that's really rare and very different. I like it so much that I'm slowly beginning to be won over by Logan Paul. Out because of things that other people might not have noticed. So what do you think of this, Emile?
Is it far-fetched to say that this is Logan Paul's best promo by far in his WWE career? I don't think so, di ba? Like it is. For me, it is.
Parang kasi nagkwento siya di ba?
Yeah, exactly.
That's more than LA Knight does. It's more than The Rock does.
That's why I was thinking about it, like when do we get to the point that we will remove the celebrity tag on Logan Paul? Kasi he just gets it. Like, he's a wrestler now. And when I watch him, I see him as a wrestler, not he just happens to be a celebrity. And he's just so natural as a heel. And it shows. So Mike, do sa promo, it shows. And I love how in the promo exchange, sinabi niya na, not only is he a wrestler, but he's also an entertainer, a boxer, an entrepreneur. And sinabi niya, si Kevin Owens, like, he's just that
just
guy.
Him.
Just a guy. Yeah, I love that. Like, as a fan, I can never root for a guy like that. It just works. Like, it just works. He gets it. He really gets it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, it's Kevin Owens, but this is I shouldn't be surprised that this is the feud that really cements Logan Paul as a bona fide pro wrestler. So all the physical stuff, that's cool, but anyone can do that too. Any athlete can do that. It's the whole participating in the whole storytelling and doing some of the corny stuff. To be honest, it's corny stuff that really makes it for me. Right, that's it for SmackDown. But before we get to a couple more talk points, let's go cut to a break and hear from our fellow podcasts on the Pod Network. Okay, we're back from break, and Stan here is finally here to join us. But we have 2 more points left in our weekend reactions, and it is first, we have a big AEW announcement. Syempre, you know how they do business, you know how they tell stories, you know how they promote matches. They just do it randomly. And on next week's Dynamite, we have a strange but welcome matchup between Adam Copeland and one murder grandpa Minoru Suzuki. So
hell yes, hell yes. I'm wearing my Edge sandal right now as we're recording. But to see these two legends, and we're not even saying it dismissively or in a derogatory manner. These are 2 living freaking legends going at it on a random episode of Dynamite. Bring it on. Murder Grandpa for the Cope Open. Sign me up.
I thought the announcement of the match, when I saw this circulating online, I thought it was random. And then I watched Collision just earlier, and I saw the promo that Edge, Adam cut after the Cope Open against Dante Martin. He said, bakit yung mga young guys lang daw yung malaban sa kanya? And he wants the veterans, he wants the older wrestlers to come up and accept his challenge. And none better than Minoru Suzuki. this is one of those things na AEW I feel like is good at giving us dream matches na hindi natin inakala na dream matches pala siya. So I'm looking forward to this on Dynamite.
Yeah, it's very interesting because last week we talked about how Adam Copeland is diversifying his work experience and the styles of wrestling that he works with. And if this isn't, the most different thing that he has ever done so far in his career, in his young career. Hindi ko na alam kung bakit. If this leads to Adam Copeland working Wrestle Kingdom,
oh wow. That's gonna be something.
Yeah, but interesting. Again, all of these things, I wish Tony Khan told the story better, but at this point in time, I cannot expect Tony Khan to tell a story and promote a match to save his life. It's one of those things. It's like local wrestling. Sometimes you just we do the match because the match is there, and then we just announce it and that it handle itself. That's the story tell itself. So
the devil's advocate. What if the story is cope open naman talaga as a plot device?
Parang cope open nga talaga yung plot device. Hindi lang nila na resist na to announce it ahead of time. Kasi
no, I think the bigger miscue was them just announcing it during the main event. Like it would have been better if they had a promo or a vignette about it as opposed to just having Schiavone randomly announce it while a match is going on.
Yeah, Schiavone is, silang lahat, they're just told to do that stuff. They're just told to do all of that stuff.
I'm not blaming Schiavone here. I'm just saying that it could have been announced way better.
Yun yung sinasabi ko na, yun yung sinasabi ko na Tony Khan can't promote a match to save his life. So, So as an AEW fan, you just have to kind of accept that kasi it works. It works for him because the buzz is there. He couldn't do it the right way, but it still works. That's kind of the sad part about it, but it is what it is. So, yun lang. So, wala na tayong choice kundi ma-excite na lang tayo para sa match.
It do be like that.
Yeah.
Right, let's wrap it up here with one last point. And ito, napanood ko to over the weekend because TNA posted the entire Nick Nemeth segment on YouTube. So he cut his first TNA promo coming off of his debut at Hard to Kill, and he basically laid out his mission statement, which is to win the TNA World Championship. And then as he was doing it and explaining why he wanted to pursue the TNA World Championship, lumabas si Steve Macklin, FKA Steve Cutler of the Forgotten Sons. And then sabi niya na, hindi, clout chaser ka lang, ginagamit mo lang yung TNA. And, later on, people just ask, whatever happened to Dolph Ziggler? So, what do you think about these two related points?
Okay, Emile, go.
First of all, I'm surprised that they name dropped the name Dolph Ziggler on TNA TV like that. I don't know kung kailan pa sila nag-reference sa mga WWE names.
No, they reference WWE all the time.
Ever since, dude.
Yeah. That's the little brother problem that they have. Matagal na.
Alright, okay. And second, Nick Nemeth in TNA just sounds right, even though kakarating lang niya doon. And the promo really proves it. Like the crowd was behind him, and it just works. Again, like I said this last week as well. Nick Nemeth is a name that I've been waiting to go to TNA for like 10 years now, and I think I will finally get that. Finally got that wish.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I feel like it was the best promo that I've ever heard from Ziggler because he wasn't doing the shouting thing. May tendency kasi siya na akala niya like shouting is the best way to make his dramatic point across, and that makes him
MJF problem.
Yeah. That makes him a really dramatic actor, but it's not. But this was really controlled. Like modulate siya. He made it really impactful, no pun intended. May gravity yung sinabi niya. And it kind of makes you wonder, should he have done this a lot sooner? Like a lot earlier in his career? Like obviously he was on the downtrend for a few years now. Like I think the biggest point of the biggest point of his career in the past few years was him winning the NXT championship. So I think he should have done. It makes you wonder. Should he have done the Cody, the Punk, the Drew, diba? All of that stuff? Because at least we wouldn't have wasted years of his prime, wondering what if he could carry another company. And I think now we're getting the answer that he really could, if he just got the ball, diba? I also like how they were really self-aware about how people or how big name wrestlers treat TNA.
Yeah.
I don't watch TNA enough to know if they've been doing that for a while, but it is kind of unfortunate because you do hear the news. Okay, TNA signs big name, then eventually the big name leaves after half a year or a few months, diba? You just wonder, why didn't that guy stick around? Because it seemed like TNA really could have used them, diba?
Para siyang collegiate school dito sa Pinas, diba?
Oh my.
Shout out Cool Cub.
Yeah, so alam mo yan, it's nice that they're self-aware about that. And I don't know if that means is it a guarantee that Dolph is not gonna do that exactly? Is that them preparing for the worst? Now, okay, we're acknowledging that Dolph is gonna leave after 3 or 6 months. Or yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird play, but I like that they're I just like self-awareness in general, kasi. And if I were Dolph though, I'd stick around. I think it seems like he's the type of guy who has saved up enough from his WWE runs and everything he's done after that, or on the side. And I think he can comfortably stick around in TNA without jeopardizing his finances. So I think that's, as Emile said, it's a really good fit between both parties.
So I've got thoughts on this. The first one being there was a time I remember no Intercontinental Championship feud niya with The Miz where he actually acted the way that he did during this January 2024 promo. Hindi lang yung sumisigaw siya nonstop. So kaya niya. And we actually have seen it on WWE TV. Granted, we didn't get to see it often enough. Kaya yun, medyo nagkukulang tayo dun. The second point being, I think that the self-awareness is probably TNA's yeah, I agree. It's a good way to acknowledge where TNA is in this wild west wrestling landscape ng 2024. But maybe you could also read it as them acknowledging na, yeah, ganito kami, and we're kind of pissed about it. So that's why we're acknowledging it on TV, because it's not something we're 100% fine with.
Yeah, but so does it mean is Dolph gonna not do that? Is he gonna do that eventually?
Nasa kanila na yun kung ano yung kontrata nila sa kanya, di ba?
Yeah. Yeah, but I like that a lot. I feel like he should stick around and be this generation's Kurt Angle nila, diba?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Ikaw, Emile, any last thoughts on Nick Nemeth and his TNA World Championship pursuit, and Steve Macklin as well?
I think we have said enough already. I also found it weird na it was Steve Macklin. Out of all the people that all the ex-WWE people they had in there to say this.
Siya kasi yung former world champion eh.
Yeah. Dirty Dango's
not a world champion. Steve Macklin. God, I forgot Steve Macklin.
Yeah, that's another conversation.
Mm-hmm. All right, so those are our weekend reactions. Kasi as usual, maraming nangyari over this weekend in wrestling. You know where to find us if you want to react or add to this. It is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok. And individually, you can follow us at RoisWar, at EML_Meister, at Chino Supersized, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stancy. Thanks to Babyface producer Jasper and the Pod Network for all of the work that they do for us behind the scenes. And on behalf of Ro Moran and Emile Nate, my name is Stan C, saying catch our next episode, the Picks of the Week. That's coming up tomorrow on your feeds. And for now, this episode of the Wrestling Podcast is in the book. So stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Later, weirdos.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company,